Welcome back to Tennis Manager 25, episode number 7. We're going to do things a little bit differently for this episode, at least. I want to progress more quickly. We're sitting on a pretty weak hand right now, and there's no point in prolonging that situation. So Uni, our long-term goal is to get her into the top 100 for this season. For Inzaghi, we're just waiting for the time that he's asking out of his contract, and we'll grant it. Tanoue, we want to see that slow progression, and we want to get her out of the gutter. If we can, I'd love to see her crack about 350, but I'd even settle for just cracking the top 400. She is starting to win a little more often. We'll see if we could just increase that consistency. That's it for the short term. We're not sitting on much in terms of finances, so we've got to be patient. So I'm going to skip forward a month. Never mind the individual tournaments on what happens. I'll give you a summary at the end of each month for the next, let's say, 6 months. Checking back in about a week early because we have a development. Tanoue, last tournament, for the first time, not only escaped the first round, but escaped the second round, which put her in the third round, aka the quarterfinals, where she lost. But now, a week later in another tournament, 30 level, first round, win. Second round, win. So second straight quarterfinal. This time, very close, but a win against a player who beat her previously, the only time that they played. So this is Tanoue heading to her first ever semifinal. Her opponent in this semifinal is the only seeded player that remains of the four still alive. But we take an early lead, 4-1, 5-1. It looks like we're going to take this first set most likely, and we do. So that's one set. We could be headed for our first ever final with Tanoue. Meaning we are absolutely making some progress with her now. Bit by bit, the attribute points she's picked up, mostly physical and a few mental, technical ones. 5 all, down 5-6, 6 all. Tiebreaker. If she wins this, she wins the match, but she does not. She drops the set, and they're level, just like that. But she gets a good, quick start here, and after almost throwing away that third game, she takes a 3-0 lead, now 4-1, after a couple more, 4-2, 5-2, and there it is. She has won the semifinal. Sandwiched in the middle was that difficult tiebreaker loss, but 6-2, the bread on the outside, each direction. She's gonna play in her first ever final, Tanoue. This final is against a very, very low ranked opponent, meaning we actually have a real legitimate shot at doing something with this one. One of the reasons why I signed up for these back-to-back tournaments was they're in Central Manila, a place I've been quite a few times, and so I was like, yay, Philippines, let's do it. Good decision, because it's working out really well for Tanoue so far. On paper, they're balanced, and Mesa has just like a hair advantage in this one, so yeah, let's see if she can get the job done. She is scared out of her mind, though, for this final. I'm just hoping that our opponent is as well. It's the first time either one of them's been here. Tanoue 11-18 on the year, 5-8 for our opponent, meaning they've both had their struggles out there. Our opponent hasn't competed as much. She's 17 already, and this low in the rankings.
Tie.
Yowzer.
First set. Fault. Second set. Fault. Love 15.
Double fault to open for Tanoue.
Second service.
Man, oh man. Okay, good news though. Very good news. I mean, they're both
Love
mentally
30.
struggling on this one, but Tanoue for a final, she's still looking at about 75-80% fitness level here.
Love 40.
Of 40 with service. Yowzer. But again, the good news, our opponent is quite fatigued. She's already just above that 50% mark. So she's going to have an accuracy penalty here very early on in this match, meaning even in this first set, she will struggle as we get into maybe the second or third game. then that will persist throughout the remainder of this match. So the longer it goes on, the more it's going to play into our advantage. So a physicality advantage
Love 15.
certainly could help. And we've already seen the on paper is the 51-49 advantage, or maybe a 55-45 advantage. You add in the stamina situation, and I'd say we've got a good 60% chance of winning this one. Apparently, serving is not the place to be, right? It's a difficulty. There's pressure with serving. Now, as you get older and you get better at it, it can become a real advantage. But at this age, at this skill level, it can be a detriment and hold you back. And it seems to be what it's doing to both of them right now, because they are both stronger on the return than they are on the serve, or at least in the early phase of this first set. We were up love 40. We're in a little bit of trouble here now, as we are making some errors into the net twice in a row now, and they have drawn level.
Advantage.
But now it's
Second service.
Vignolini who makes the mistake and hits the net herself, putting us back on top, and then we hit the winner and do claim the first game. Nice winner there too. Give us a chance with serves to actually do something, but we are so weak on serve.
15-0.
It's really good to see, actually, because I seem to remember in like Tennis Manager 23, Tennis Manager 24, that even when you were poor at serving, you were still, like, you weren't hitting with a lot of power. That was true, but you seem to just hit in on a regular basis. This year, they seem to have tweaked it a little bit. That poor consistency on your serve means you're actually going to be poor consistency on your serve, meaning you're having a harder time hitting it in. And as somebody who, it's not tennis, but I coach volleyball
30-0.
at this age group,
Fault. Second service.
serve consistency is such a huge factor for us,
30.
and you see a lot more misses, and of course with volleyball you don't get those second chances. You hit it out, you're done. So 2-1 lead there. That's the first time serve is actually held for either one of them. Let's speed it up a little bit for this first set. Good advantage early on, and she's already below that 50% mark, so she's gonna start suffering that penalty. That last one was right on the line. It had, of course, we're playing really sped up. It had looked like it might have gone wide, but the marking was clearly on the line. Deuce, advantage. The mark is literally on the line, but we got that one called out. They've definitely seemed to have settled down, and both of them are serving a lot better than before. We were up love 30 there for a moment. It was looking like you could break, but we're on deuce. She has advantage, and we still draw level. 4 games all. Not been able to pull ahead. So after the early reversal of breaks, it's been a hold serve, I think, since then. 40-30, up 5-4. Could we be headed for a tiebreaker in this first set, or can we break her and take the set? We've gone behind, and it's 5 games all. So now it's going to, at the very least, take an extra game. Uh-oh, here's the break possibility, and there is. There's the first break since the very beginning of this thing, and we trail 5-6. We went up love 30, but she's scored 3 straight to be up 4-30 and have set point. Not a good position to be in. Her extra penalty has just kicked in, though. More penalty on the accuracy than before, as she has dropped, or at least it looks like she's dropped below 25% stamina now. At least my read on that meter looks to be just below it. Aye. Must win for the set here to stay alive. It's another set. And there's the error, and it's out. Hard to say whether that's a forced error or just an error. I would go with unforced.
Second set.
There was some movement to reach, but it was not that difficult of a ball to get to. Nice.
15
Good winner there, but we're down a set. A lot of work to do. Let's speed it up for the first handful of games. Lead one game. Had a chance to break her, could not, but easily take service there. Finally, we do break her and go ahead. Now 4 games won, looking really good at this point, and she's back into that double territory. Double punishment is starting to go our way. 5 games too, comfortably ahead in this set.
Second service. Game and
There's a winner. Take the set 6-2.
Third set. Finals.
With the big penalty, and she's devastated. Oh, we're still stressed here too, but we're up 3 games won. Starting with that penalty, we're really starting to control the match. 5 games won. We're gonna win this thing. Right? Now it's 5 games 3. There we go. Our first match point at 40-15 with service. And that's going wide. And there you go. Lisa Tanoue, her first tournament victory. So we went from totally in the gutter, and in about a 2-month span, we've gone from she had 1 win all season to, she had 2 wins all season to, hey, she was winning about 50% of her matches, to she just shifted the balance in like a 3-week stretch here and went from win the first round but lose the second to win 2 rounds but lose the third to win 3 rounds to a final and a victory. Now, granted, we were really fortunate with a weak opponent in this one. So is she going to suddenly start controlling 30s and winning every other tournament? I don't think we are there yet. We had a lucky streak on who we were up against. We were fit, and I think it played a big factor, because head-to-head, we lost that first set. Just barely, but did lose that first set. It was the stamina that carried us through sets 2 and 3 and made the difference and turned that into a winner for us. The tactics absolutely helped. I think that was part of the turning point that made her a little more competitive and got her out of that gutter, and she's now performing at the lowest level, but she's performing. Well, now we've reached the end of that first month, and tournament winnings were a little bit below average this month. It's usually in that 2 to 3K range, but close enough, and finances are pretty standard. The big thing is at the end of the month, we're looking at a 17K profit. That's including the 2K, so we're down to about 15K on our profit now with the upgraded youth facility and that first little bit of a boost that goes into our academy training. Just this last week, Inzaghi did secure his 4th victory of the season, and suddenly, just like that, Tanoue, on a bit of a hot streak here, she's approaching 500 for the year. Still got a little ways to go yet, but 30 points for that one is a big boost. My goal was to crack the top 350. My realistic goal that I made here mid-season just a few weeks ago anyway. She's up to 326, just like that, with 1 tournament success. We are definitely sticking to the 30s for now, though. I mean, that's a lot of tournaments to get 1 win with only 1 quarterfinal previously. Yeah, we're staying put at 30 level, at least for the time being. Uni did lose a few spots in the rankings. I mean, we were as high as 103. We've not had very many tournaments of late, though. Still 36 and 16 for the year, just shy of 400 points. But we're going to need another successful 100 level to progress up the ranks for sure. So we may need to switch back to control of Uni at some stage before the end of the season, temporarily, just to help get her going and get that rank into the happy zone. As for the development side of things as we go into August, technical, no changes for Tanoue since we took over control of her development. And actually, no, that's period. that's from the very beginning of the season. 0 technical gain. But we are seeing a little bit of mental average and a lot of physical jump. She's up to about an 8.5 on her average there. Like I said, I'd like to get these to like 9s and 10s to call the year successful. The mental has not been keeping up with that, as I've focused almost entirely on physical, though. You can see what 1 week of proper physical training looks like. A 45% boost for the biggest, at least 3% for all of them, and a single percentage point in volley elsewhere. Inzaghi not making any significant gains. His best training area with the staff he has working with him is physical, and so it's been where I've almost exclusively trained, but we still haven't even gotten one level. Natural fitness is the one making the most rapid gains, but it's happening quite slowly. So that's what it looks like with virtually no staff. As for uni, 0 progress in the physical and mental this year, though, I mean, you are seeing things like stamina gain 8% or 5% to anticipation. That's the early bloomer kicking in, just giving us a little bit of progress. But we are absolutely making progress in the technical. It's not rapid at all. Not even close to rapid. But it is gains. I think we started the year at 5s. Surf power is up to a 6. Surf spins up to a 7. There's been probably, over the course of this season, about 10 points. Meaning, not so far off from 1 gained. Here's that technical average that was very stagnant with just the tiniest climbs. And then here's where we made the switch. And it's gone from 6.5 to about 7.15 for an average. So not quite a point across the board, but definitely making minor gains. It'll help. It'll make uni more competitive in the long term. And then, of course, when we make the switch back, we'll be able to get the physical and mental a little bit further, get another point or 2 into those. But uni's going to essentially stall out at some stage. I mean, there's only so much progress that I can make with somebody with limited potential, and the technical is going to have to be the focus. So we're going to need a better technical coach at some stage. But throwing the finances at that right now for limited potential players just doesn't make any sense. We already just threw some money at something. You see that we're actually down to a profit of just 8K, 8.8K. Very little. That's how much of a dip we took into it. We're just 3 days into the month, so that is raw numbers right now. That is not impacted by anything else right now. That is pure what our profit is down to, making it hard to get anywhere. We do have that facility that was going to run 35K and only cost a couple K a month, so we could almost invest into that one now. That would be the only investment we make the rest of the year, and then we'll be waiting for that board injection. But I think our priority still needs to be finances, and just accept that it's going to take us at least a couple of years to make enough money to really start to properly invest in that youth and scouting and see if we can get some better prospects coming out. And be patient. I feel like I'm already trying to rush forward to the next stage when we haven't really secured our future financially yet. August has come to an end, so we're getting really close to the end of the season here. Inzaghi doing nothing, not a single win this month. As for Tanoue, we had a kind of a 2-week stretch, 1 tournament, and then training again. So we only had 1 tournament this month, and she did all right. It was a couple weeks in. We're also in the middle of a tournament right now, and she is past the first round anyway. But for uni, interesting month. It says a lot about where she's at right now. So we had 3 tournaments over the last month. We opened with a 100. She got all the way to the final, but lost it. Then she had a 200 level tournament. Out in the first round. Second time this year we've entered a 200 tournament, and each time she was out in the first round. A week later, we were back in a 100 level tournament, comfortably to the semis. She did lose there, but it's semifinal or final in the 100s, like pretty consistently for her most of the time. The 200s, she's out in the first round, but she's not securing quite enough points. The 100s are only kind of just keeping her fairly stable, and she's actually just inched her way down the rankings a little bit because others are going to, say, 200 level tournaments and finding a little bit of success, and it's just inching her backwards. So it's not looking great on that part for Uni on trying to finish the season in the top 100 of the juniors. Tanoue into her second career final. Well, obviously still 30 level. I'm not putting her in things above that, though I actually did schedule a couple 60s for the end of the season. And we're off to a fantastic start, up 4-0, now 5-1. Looks like we're going to take the first set. Ooh, didn't get that one. Didn't finish it off, but we do finish it off there. So 6-2. One set in the bag, and we once again have a fairly healthy advantage on the stamina side. We are falling below 50% ourselves, but she's also falling below 25% herself. But second set not going anywhere near as well as the first. We were down 4-1, now down 5-2, and the set's lost, so we are going to play a decisive third set. Yeah, the advantage is maybe 20% on the stamina, but it's not huge. And down love 4 in games, that's looking like a loss, and it is 1-6. So we have played 2 finals now with Tanoue. Won 1, lost 1. That's still so much better. She is making much deeper runs, and by now she might be at about 50% on the year for performance. Of course, the problem is next year's another year, and I think we should be able to continue the trend of being better. We have obviously made some progress with her, but all we've really done is escape the gutter because we're not dominating the lowest level tournaments. We're just much more competitive. And to begin next year, I think we'll be making the jump to 100 levels, like almost bypassing 60 entirely. And I think she'll struggle there. If we take on the 60s, I think she might actually have some success. So we might yo-yo 60 and 100 level to open next season. End of period report, Tanoue up to 339 in the rankings. She climbed 100 spots there, 11 wins, 78%. She was 50 the period before. I mean, it was only 3-3, but 53 points won. A lot more prize money as well. Inzaghi, 0 wins from 3 over the last period. Uni, 10 wins from 14, 10-4 over that stretch, 71%. Pretty strong. That included that 200 level failure, though. So we have our near end of season review of contracts, and this time Inzaghi is asking for the termination, and we're going to go ahead and accept. This is going to free up our staff a little bit, and we'll go in and recalculate what we can do with just 2 athletes to work with. Well, as we've narrowed it down, now we only have 1 vacancy, and that is a physio for Tanoue. But we are doubling up on the technical training. We're doubling up on the physical training, and we have 1 each on the training game plan. We're definitely in a more solid state now, only working with 2. It also, I think, is going to help us a little bit. I mean, he had no reputation. Right, we're up to 303 now for Tanoue. She's not quite to that 250, but as for their satisfaction, Uni has actually slipped away because she's down to 117, just inching her way backwards. And Tanoue at 303, not yet registering satisfaction towards her goal of 250 for the year was the original goal. So both of them still have some work to do, but it's mid-September, so we've actually still got at least a small window to get them both a little bit higher. And actually, Tanoue, who was a little upset about her situation, right, that she was a little bit low on the rankings, she actually does realize that there has been progress, and she's actually somewhat pleased, so that helps. Time to try our hand at a 60 level for Tanoue. I'll let you know how far she gets. Second round exit, but not a first, so, that's pretty okay. I have 4 staff members with expiring contracts, 3 of those no longer, as they have all renewed. Unfortunately, my negotiation skill is a 1, and so all of them did not accept my reduced salary offer, and all of them asked for what they asked for in the first place. So we have no negotiating power as of right now. But the fourth one is the Gutierrez guy who is retiring at the end of the year. So we are going to have to replace one staff member or just let him be gone and not fill that void. But again, a hole in your staff means a decrease in revenue as we have that min-max thing and the variables that could drop us lower. So as we come into the end of another month, for one thing, our profit ends up at 12K, but that's with 2K tournament winnings. So we're pretty stable on that. It's about a 10K profit to start the month. As for performance, Tanoue continues to progress slightly. Her rank has gone up just a little bit. She's been consistently getting second, third, fourth rounds into tournaments and accumulating some more points. We've also tried a couple of 60s where she made second round, so there's some progress there. Now 79 points on the season, just inside the top 300, but not quite that 250 mark, and almost 500 for the year at 21 and 24. Uni, meanwhile, has had a strong year, 38 and 18, and we accumulate more points, 480. But so do those around us, and those around us have accumulated points that little bit faster. And so we're pretty much right where we started the year. We've been here kind of throughout the year. I mean, there's your beginning of year ranking, 115. We're 117 right now. So we had that nice little jump where we got our first 100 level win. And it's still only one, right? We've lost 2 finals. We've made a wide number of semis. But this last month was kind of poor for us. We were out in the second round twice. We were out in the third round once. We were out in the fourth round, aka semifinal, once. That's what we did in 4 tournaments over the last about 6 weeks. Well, we're about to hit the end of the season, and we are going to wrap this episode up here. We'll conclude the season and get final analysis of things for next year in the next episode. We've topped 100K now, so we at least are building that up. We, of course, are going to have our end of season board injection, 250, 300K, and that'll absolutely be an investment, but the investment will be financial, right? We already invested outside of financial and dropped ourselves back down to just a small profit margin. We need to increase that, so we will need to invest in a financial type infrastructure. But I have leveled up as a manager, level 4 now. That's 16 attribute points. Let's go ahead and get those distributed. Forehand, I think we can put some points into that. And we just noted that negotiation was a real problem. So let's go ahead and put our final points into that one for now. Something I'm noticing here late in the season, and I noticed this late in season 1 when I replayed, right? The first real season 1, obviously we didn't get tournaments in the second half, but I have noticed a trend. Others in the field, they develop too. It's not just your athletes. Everybody else is out there growing, getting bigger, better, stronger, especially the youth players. And so at the end of the season, the competition gets harder, and Uni's performances with a weaker coach assisting her this year, yes, she has made some technical development this year, but it's been slow. It has not been rapid gains, and those around her have progressed faster, and that's why her rank hasn't gone anywhere. It's where it started the year. It had climbed, but now it plateaued and has dropped back down. Tanoue, we're at the same stage now. She's learned the game plan. She's got the performances. She's been much better in the 30 level tournaments. She's approaching that 500 mark. She's winning more frequently. But also, for the last couple of months, yeah, we saw one final that she lost, but outside of that, she's started to drift away a little bit, like Uni. She's getting knocked out a little bit earlier in tournaments than she was, making that 500 marks getting a little bit harder right now. Yes, we made improvement, but now the others are showing that improvement as well. And like Uni, limited improvement this year, Tanoue, even though I'm working with her, standard development pattern means she's only developing so fast. And so both of them with limited gains have clearly been outgained by those around. Meaning, just as we figured, we are not going to be ultra competitive with the academy in the short term. It's going to take investment, which means finances matter first, because that's where the investment's going to come from. Because Uni's not going to get us rich. Tanoue is not going to get us rich. The next one coming through in the academy, probably not them either. That's going to do it for this episode, though. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Bye for now.